Hello drummers, it's Rob Litton here from drumstheword.com. Welcome to this free mini song lesson where today I'm going to show you how to play the song Money by Pink Floyd, drummed by the legendary Nick Mason of course. This song was suggested over on my YouTube channel on the community tab. I posted a few weeks ago asking for your song suggestions. You then typed them in the comments and I voted the ones you like the look of. And the most popular ones got chosen for lessons, including this one today. I've got 3 pages of PDF drum notation for you to download from my website for free. You'll find a link beneath this video. Within those 3 pages, within this lesson, I'm going to show you how to play all the main parts, the main groove of course, which we'll get onto straight away, and then of course all the other drum fills, and that little drum solo we get in the middle. Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to there. The first thing I want to say is all 8 notes are swung throughout, so we've got this kind of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and give you a little bit of a clue there as to what's coming up. So to be aware that we're sort of swinging the 8th notes, 1 and 2, da 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 da, like that. So let's get straight onto it. As you probably already know, the song's in 7/4. So we're simply counting 7 beats per bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, dun, 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 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. It's interesting because what we actually got here in this song is a 12-bar blues kind of structure written in 7/4. So it's kind of like a mix of different styles there. We got some progressive rock sort of styling with this odd time signature, but then a very blues-based simple song really. So the drums come in at 26 seconds with our first little flam there on beat 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Into our main groove, and Nick keeps it very, very simple. He's famous for this, playing very simple drum parts with just the right amount of flair to make it interesting. And for the first part of the song, for the first minute or so, this is all he's playing, this one simple drum beat, but in 7. You can still sort of feel it as 4/4, but at the end it turns around with an extra bass drum note. So we get 1, 2, 3 and 4. There's our first swung note there on the bass drum. 3 and 4, and then 5, 6, 7. And instead of playing a snare drum after that, we get another crash. So we get 7, 1. Or 7, 1. We're using 2 different crash cymbals or the same crash cymbal. It doesn't really matter. So we get 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7. Another way you can think about it, and later in this lesson I'm going to show you sections where I've written it as 4/4 and 6/4, is you could hear it as 4 and a bar of 3. 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 1. You don't have to count it as 7, you can count it as a bar of 4 and 3. End of the day, it actually doesn't really matter too much at all, I don't think, because you can hear the melody in your head. Dun 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 dun. So that intro, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's hear it played properly. Well, that was properly. Let's hear it played without me talking over the top, without the microphone on, so you can hear just the drums. Here we go. So this one bar here, you'll hear it in context with the song. It follows the vocals. We get 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the swung bass drum's put onto beat 5 instead of beat 3. 5 and 6, 7, and very subtle, just a snare drum on its own for beat 7. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7. So just be aware that bar exists there in the middle of the song, well, at 1 minute 02 in this case, and it's a very sort of musical way of changing the drum beat, but you might not have even noticed. Anyway, here's that played a couple of times up to speed. So 1 minute 08, we get our first sort of little drum fill, the way the vocals are going, the way the guitar is going, I decided to write this as 2 bars of 4 and 1 bar of 6. Now, anyone quick at maths out there will know that that also equals up to 2 bars of 7. So it's still in 7. You can cut it in 7 if you wanted to, but I think for the drumming part, and you'll see what I mean when the crash cymbal starts and when the drum fill ends, and the way the snare drum backbeat stays on 2 and 4, if you think of it as 2 bars of 4 and a bar of 6, it fits more with the song, even though you could count 7 all the way through. So that's how I've decided to notate it for you. The rhythm's the same, it's just what you're counting over the top that's different. So, first bar, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Then we get 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. And you'll hear it goes back to feeling in 7. So 3 bars, 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6. And let's hear those 3 bars up to speed. So at 1 minute 49 we get our next variation of that I wanted to include. Again, 2 bars of 4 and a bar of 6. If you listen to the song in context, it fits with the melody. The first bar, same as our first bar from a previous example. 1, 2, 3 and 4. And then 1 and 2 and 3, 4. I've written it as the high tom. By the way, I don't think I mentioned this at the beginning of the lesson. All of these drum fills have been written for 3 toms. When we get to the solo section in a second, it's probably, in fact I know Nick is using more than 3 toms, but most drummers don't have 4 toms. So I've transcribed this for 3 toms best I could, to sort of get the difference in pitches. And so this is quite a high pitched tom, so I decided to use my highest. So 1 and 2 and 3, 4, simple as that. And then a bar of 6, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6. Again, so simple. 5, 6, a flam on the 6 there. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6, 1. So the next section, again, it's the same as our previous 2, the same part of the melody being played, but he's moved to the right cymbal at this point. So bars 1 and 2, very simple, and it almost sounds like, and I've said this in a few other lessons, and I probably shouldn't say these things too often because I can't prove it, but it sounds a little bit messy for Nick, the way he ends this. It's almost like he lost track of where the beat is, and he's sort of just playing random bass drum and snare drum parts. It works for the song, no one notices, it's all in time, but it's just an interesting and weird way he plays this last bar of 6. So it starts off normally, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Then we get 1 and 2, 3, 4. No snare drum on 4, 3, 4. Then the 6 weirdly starts with the snare drum, 1, 2, 3. And then 4, 5, 6. He comes out in time, he knows you've got the crash cymbal there and the crash for the next part. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On its own it sounds fine, but with the rest of the bands, it's an odd choice of where you place in the snare drum and bass drum, and usually Nick is very careful about that kind of thing. So the 3 bars, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let's hear that up to speed. So on to page 2, and at 3:02, we change into a different section of the song. Speeds up slightly, the tempo increases slightly, and I've written here the triplet hi-hat notes were overdubbed over the top of this next section. So Nick is playing basically this kind of thing. There's quarter notes on the ride cymbal, but over the top of it, they've overdubbed. In fact, Nick improvises with that section with the hi-hat part. Sometimes he plays something like stuff like that. He's improvising a little bit with the hi-hat, but understand that hi-hat part is overdubbed. If you wanted to replicate it, then you play a double-handed hi-hat triplet groove like this. Still starting with the right hand, but because we're in triplets, your left hand's going to come down off the hi-hat to play the snare drum. Usually in a double-handed hi-hat groove, your right hand starts and your right hand comes down to the snare drum. You're playing groups of 4, but in triplets, So if you want to replicate it that way, you could. But that's not what Nick is playing. And when we get to some of the drum fills, it's very hard to break off from that double-handed hi-hat groove in the right place. So this is why Nick obviously chose to play quarter notes, makes things a lot neater for these triplet drum fills. So the first bar, again, it's in 4 by the way, so this section changes to 4/4 rather than 7. It goes back to 7 at the end of the song, but for this next middle section, it's all 4/4. So we get 4 groups of triplets on the snare drum, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then between 3 different toms, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And played through triplets, that equals a whole bar of triplets. And then we're into our right cymbal groove, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 4 bars together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's hear those 4 bars up to speed. So now we start to get some of the more busier drum fills. So at 3 minutes 17, I've written the first bar there as an example of the groove that gets played throughout this section in between the drum fills. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The second bar we get this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Excuse me. So we're skipping over beat 4, and you've got to get used to reading these as swung notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and. The and there is the high tom, and then the and of 4 is back to the snare drum. So we get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And you could use any tom you like, it doesn't really matter. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Let's hear those 2 bars up to speed. 3 minute 24, we get our first example of playing the middle note of the triplet that I want to talk about, apart from the intro to this section, where we got this rather cool rhythm being played. So the first bar, standard stuff, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. He plays either the right cymbal extra loud or a crash cymbal on 4, 4 and we're then going to continue into the next bar of the drum fill, 4 and 1 and then this is the interesting bit, we're playing the middle note and the last note of the triplet, 2 triplet 3. 2 triplet 3. So to count it is a bit weird, but if you listen to the song enough, you hear the rhythm dat dum da da dat dum da da dum, dat dum da da dat dum da da dum, dat dum da da dat dum da da dum. I'm trying to play the quarter note there steady underneath it. So let me just show you what I mean. We get 4 and 1 and 2 triplet 3 and 4 triplet 1. That last bit there, he plays a a snare drum into the lowest tom. So the only way I could think you could play it would be to play left-right, but that means you come out with your left hand on the crash cymbal. If you've got a tom over here that you want to use, you could play it right-left. You've got enough space to go over. Or you could do that, but I don't think Nick does that. He probably just played left-right. So we get 4 and 1 and 2 triplet 3 and 4 1 4 triplet 1. So be aware that that rhythm there, dat dum da da dat dum da da involves coming in on the middle note of the triplet for beat 2 and beat 4. Let's see those 2 bars played up to speed properly. So at 4:03, I did my best to sort of transcribe some of these drum solo parts. I come in at 4:03 because this is where the drum solo gets really busy, or busier than the previous half of it. Again, it's just deciding what toms to transcribe. And so again, I made a decision at the beginning of the lesson that I'd only transcribe this song for 3 toms, because that's what most drummers have, and try to transpose what I'm hearing into one of those 3 toms. So this is my interpretation. There could be more toms being used, but I didn't want to make this too complicated, or make this only playable for drummers with multiple toms. So, first bar, we get to the bass drum playing on all 4 quarter notes underneath. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 4, and, snare, medium tom, floor tom. Then next bar, 1 and, up to the highest tom, 1 and 2 and 3 and, that rhythm again, left, right, left I've chosen. So we get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, same tom and 1. Then that third bar, same as our first bar I think, yeah, almost. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and, snare drum. Then we get 1 and 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 3 and, that's the same rhythm there again, and 3 and 4 triplets. We get that middle note and the third note of the triplet being played, 4 triplet 1. And it goes into actually the next example at 4/10, but I wanted to split this up into 4 bars to make it easier for you to digest and also easier for me to try and show you, because playing all 3 lines, reading them off the page up to speed, takes a little bit of practice. So let's hear what those 4 bars sound like up to speed. Here we go. So at 4 minute 10 we go into our next section, which is just extended on from the previous example. We start on the floor tom. 1, 2, 3 and 4 triplet 1. So we get 4 triplet 1 and you can use any sticking you like. That's the sticking I happen to be using. You could do that instead, it doesn't really matter. So we get 1 and into the next bar, and then 2 triplet 3, 2 triplet 3 and then 4 triplet 1. So again, using that middle note of the triplet really well. So 1 and 2 triplet 3 and 4 triplet 1. Third bar, 1, 2, 3 and 1 and 4 triplet 1. Between these 2 toms I've written 4 triplet 1 and then 2 triplet, I'm going to have to really read this, 2 triplet 3 and 2 triplet 3 and 4 triplet 1. And he resolves every 4 bars with the 4-1 idea. So you're keeping it musical. So those 4 bars slowly, there's a lot of stuff going on in there. 1, 2, 3 and 4 triplet 1 and 2 triplet 3 and 4 triplet 1, 2, 3 and 4 triplet 1 and 2 triplet 3, 2 triplet 3 and 2 triplet 3 and 4 triplets, 2 triplet 3 and 4 triplet. I was playing 2 triplet 3 and, which is not, it's 2 triplet 3 and 4 triplet. I'll keep that mistake in just to prove I'm human. Anyway, let's hear those 4 bars up to speed. So for 4 minutes 17, it's the next 4 bars that occur after our previous example, and we get the first bar using the same rhythms that we've had in our previous 2 sections. You'll hear the same rhythm, it's just where he's orchestrating it. 1, 2, 3 and 4 triplets, back down to the snare drum, and 4 triplets, 1 and, the next bar, 1 and 2 triplet 3, 2 triplet 3, and then I recommend you play the snare drum with your right hand here, so 3 and, that means your left hand can come down to the floor tom to play right, left, right, otherwise you have to play right, left, right. You could play it, maybe Nick plays right, right, left, but in order for me to keep it single stroke, I've decided to play left, right, left, 4 triplet 1. Probably it was easier for Nick because he might have used a tom over here, and again you've got space underneath your hands to come under. But if you've got a tom down here, you have to really start with your left hand, otherwise you're crossing right over and it's a bit awkward. So 1 and 2 triplet 3 and 4 triplet 1, 4 triplet 1. Third bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then up to your highest tom playing 2, 2, 4. So 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1. So coming down each tom with your right hand. And I believe, yeah, we go into another solo after that. So let's hear those 4 bars up to speed. So at 4:44 we got another cool section I wanted to show you. First bar, just to give you a bit of context, I thought I'd include it. 1, 2, 3 and 4. And then we get 1 and, he plays a little drag there with the left hand. I think it's the only time he plays a drag in the song. 1 and, then Old Faithful, 2 triplet, 3 and, 2 triplet, 3 and then 4 triplet 1 coming out the same way as usual. 1 and 2 triplet, 3 and 4 triplet 1. And then this cool rhythm, 1, 2 and 3 and, so I played that tom accidentally, it should be this tom, it doesn't really matter. 1, 2 and 3 and then the middle note of the triplet only on the snare drum, 4 triplets, and it resolves, you'll see nicely in a second, with the floor tom on beat 1, we get this smooth 3 notes in a row, 1 on the 4th bar. So 1, 2 and 3 and 4 triplet 1. Then we get that last bar, 2 and 3 and 4 and the bass drum fills in that gap. If you listen carefully, you can hear it's the bass drum. 2 and 3 and 4 and, so we get 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, and on it goes. So let's hear those 4 bars up to speed. Then at 4:58, the last part of this lesson I want to show you before the song goes back to 7/4, it's this cool little rhythm. We get 1 and 2, 3, 4, then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and bass drum filling in that gap on beat 4 as we had in our previous example, or similar idea to it. Yeah, beat 4. And then bar 3, 1, 2, snare drum on its own, 3 triplet 4, high tom to medium tom, 3 triplet 4, and then this cool bit, 1 and 2 triplet 3, so Old Faithful there on beat 2, 1 and 2 triplet 3, then I think he comes up to his medium tom, could be the high tom, I think it's the medium tom, 2 triplet 3 and then this cool bit, 4 trip again, where we're just playing the middle note of the triplet, creating this quarter note triplet effect, which resolves nicely on beat 1 of the last, of the next bar. 1 and 2 triplet 3 and 4 triplet 1, creating that sort of effect. So let's hear all 4 bars up to speed. Phew, that was a long one, a lot of explaining in that, a lot of using words when perhaps just playing it would have been sufficient for you to understand it, but I wanted to make sure that I was also teaching you how to count it if you wanted to. It helps you to learn this kind of stuff, to help you learn other songs as well, so it's always good, but you'll find that if you listen to the song, it doesn't sound as complicated as perhaps I've made it out to be. What's complicated is reading off the page, the toms being used, the changing of rhythms from quarter note triplets to swung 8th notes, to just playing middle note of the triplet, or the first 2 notes of the triplet. That's the kind of tricky bit. But Nick isn't thinking that. He's just swinging in his head, and sort of just playing around with the drums. Yeah, anyway, have fun with it, and give yourself a break if you find it quite tricky, because it is difficult to read off the page. Don't forget to download all 3 pages of the PDF from our website. Again, you'll find a link beneath this video. It's free. And then while you're at the website, you might want to consider signing up to become an online member. And what I currently offer for £97 is a full year's online access to every single full video song lesson I've ever recorded and transcribed. And that's over 550 full song lessons where I teach you famous and popular songs. Unlike this lesson where I just taught you the main parts, in my full song lessons I teach you every single bar from start to finish. You get the fully transcribed PDF drum chart with each of the lessons. And I think I've got at least one other Pink Floyd lesson up on the website already, and I'm sure I'll be adding more again in the future. As a thank you for signing up, I give you access to hundreds more little videos teaching you many, many famous drum beats, fills, and even drum solos. I give you 3 ebooks I've written over the years containing hundreds more famous beats, fills, and solos. And then over the year of your subscription, you also gain instant online access to all the new material that I upload from my members. So you've got lots of cool stuff to look forward to over the year of your subscription. But if you've got any questions about any of that, then feel free to email me, rob@drumstheword.com. And until our next drum lesson together, toodle pip, happy drumming to you.